are already using artificial intelligence in a big way in Tamil Nadu, you'll be surprised to know that the accuracy of these identifications is actually double than what actually can be done manually.
Welcome to the section of Sustainability Karma. I'm your host Rajiv Tikku. Today we have a very special guest with us, a senior IS officer Supriya Sahu. She is currently Additional Chief Secretary in the Department of Health and Family Welfare in Tamil Nadu government. Welcome Supriya Sahu to the section of Sustainability Karma.
Thank you, Rajiv.
You have recently started an initiative called One Health and Climate Hub, would you like to tell us something about this?
We have been working on climate change in Tamil Nadu for quite some time now. In fact, the state is a pioneering state where we had actually set up the first climate company in the country, and it is called the Tamil Nadu Green Climate Company. We also had launched 4 missions which are focused on climate, which is these 4 missions are sustainable missions. So, as a kind of a continuation of the work that is already happening in the climate scenario in Tamil Nadu, it was but natural that we came to health because everything is actually converging on health. The concept of One Health, which is now coming, very forcefully across the globe, is the one which is encompassing, and it is the interconnectedness of everything that makes an impact on the human health or the animal health that has become important. And that's why we started this work on setting up the One Health Hub, which will work in coordination with various departments in the government in charge of working on climate, so that we can bring it all together and focus on human health. And that's the main important objective of One Health setup that we are now bringing in Tamil Nadu.
Your previous posting was also in the environment department. Now, how helpful has that been here in this new assignment?
I think if I had not undergone the kind of the knowledge exchange that happened when I was ACS in Environment, Climate Change and Forest Department, I would not have had the understanding as to how interconnected the Forest Department, Animal Husbandry Department, Agriculture Department and Health Department are. In fact, it is really an eye-opener. It's mind-boggling to see that each of these departments, though they are working, in their own kind of a set of objectives, etc., but ultimately, if they converge and they come together, the impact on human health can be transformational.
So, how difficult it is to bring in the convergence in different departments of government?
No, it is a complex issue because you see, this is also a new area. This is something which actually has not, been formally kind of taken up anywhere in India. So this being the new sector, people are not aware of the challenges that are there. But the good news is that there is definitely an understanding after COVID that zoonotic diseases, they can play havoc with our complete environment, with our health. So I think after COVID, people are definitely willing to, government departments are looking at the signs that are there around us. For example, even if there is a little bit of an information of kind of a breakout of any kind of a zoonotic disease, whether it is a Zika virus or a Nipah virus or it is now monkeypox, the entire machinery is kind of getting galvanized. So definitely there is a very good understanding. We recently had a workshop where all the departments came together and they presented the kind of work that each department is doing separately. And it wasn't a new thing to know that actually there are so many areas where departments can collaborate and they can work together. For example, one would like to think what we have got to do in climate change health department, what they have got to do with the municipal administration department. But it would be a surprise for many to know that in Bangalore there is an agency, the Tata Institute. They are working on kind of finding out the signs of viral disease breakout from the sewage water, because that's a very good indicator to find if the community is having any kind of a virus. So sewage water is being tested to find that, whether the signs of the viral breakouts or the bacterial breakouts are there or not. So this is one area where the surveillance system can lead to several kinds of new findings for health practitioners also.
There is also very emission intensive. So does it figure in your scheme of things?
100%. You see, so what we are actually trying to now do in health department is first look at what kind of surveillance mechanism we can do together. And as you rightly said, that we also need to do a kind of an emission study of the health systems that we have. So in my earlier assignment, we already have completed the greenhouse gas inventory for the state of Tamil Nadu, one of its first of its kind anywhere in India. And the greenhouse gas inventory actually has come out with the sectoral contributions, which is by the energy sector or by the municipal administration sector and different areas as to how they are contributing to the the greenhouse gas inventory of Tamil Nadu. Though the health sector is not a significant one, it is not identified as the first 5 or the first 6 contributing to the greenhouse gas inventory, but I think it is something which is very important to look at as to what is the contribution the health sector is making. So taking a clue from the greenhouse gas inventory that we did for the state of Tamil Nadu, we'll certainly be taking a leaf out of that book, and we would be assessing the the amount of emissions that are happening in the state sector in the health department also.
While as we have done wonderfully in some target areas and indicators of SDG 3 on health and well-being, but challenges persist. So do you have any plans to accelerate progress there?
Very much. In fact, we did a kind of an analysis of the work that has already happened in the state of Tamil Nadu. As we know, we are already, a front runner when it comes to provisioning of the public health systems in India. In fact, Tamil Nadu is the only state in the country which had started a public health wing way back. It's more than 100 years old department that we have, and the department is still going strong. So the kind of outreach we have through the public health wing in the state of Tamil Nadu, we do not have in any other state in the country. So we need to strengthen that little bit more. Post-COVID, you see that the public health approach is something that would need more strengthening, which is provisioning of door-to-door services, sanitation, immunization, maternal and child healthcare services. That is something that we need to strengthen a little bit more. While we have done exceedingly well when it comes to provisioning of the basic healthcare, to the people of Tamil Nadu, there are areas where we need to do a little bit more work. For example, anemia. This is one area where we find that a lot more needs to be done when it comes to the state of Tamil Nadu. Though, our indicators are so high, all our SDG health indicators have already been achieved, we still have anemia as a big concern, whether it is among women or it is among children. And this is one important factor which is also contributing to the maternal mortality in the state of Tamil Nadu. So that's one. Second one is tuberculosis is again another area which we need to focus upon. The early identification of people infected with TB, also putting people on within a time frame on treatment, also reducing the death rate. So that, and how can you do it? You need to make sure that the adherence to the drug regimen is actually done properly. These are some of the important and crucial areas that we have identified, and we are working on it to improve these sectors.
Post-COVID, funding as well as attention on healthcare is slightly dipped. Would you be concerned?
See, post-COVID, there are some positive things that have happened. One thing is that our health facilities now they are trying to become more resilient, because they realize that in case of a breakout of zoonotic diseases, in view of the climate change and so many other factors, our health facilities have to be ready. They have to be really ready to kind of focus on provisioning of health services. So we actually have kind of strengthened at all levels, whether it is the tertiary care, it is the secondary care, or it is the primary care, provisioning of the services. I like to take you to a very important initiative which is happening in Tamil Nadu, and it is called as the Makkalai Thedi Marutvam, which is MTM. Makkalai Thedi Marutvam, essentially it is in Tamil, but if you translate it, it means that we are now reaching the doorstep of people to provide important services, which includes the non-communicable diseases. So, for example, now with increasing incidence of diabetes, hypertension and cancer, it has become extremely critical for us to ensure that people are aware about the early identification of the symptoms that can lead to complications because of these diseases. So about 2 crore people, 2 crore individuals have already been reached by our volunteers. We have appointed or designated, you can say, community-based volunteers, including women who come from the self-help groups. They have been trained to visit homes, talk to people, and inform people about the symptoms that they may have, and then motivate them to get themselves checked up and go for a regular checkup at the local PHC or government hospitals, or they have access to a tertiary institution. So this has really led to a huge awareness building of the systems, of the government systems at all the 3 levels, to take care of these 3 important pillars, as we say, which is community engagement, early identification and early treatment of these important diseases.
And finally, are you using health tech like artificial intelligence or machine learning going forward now in healthcare?
Very much. In fact, we feel that artificial intelligence is the way to go forward. In fact, you will be very happy to know that we are already using artificial intelligence in a big way in Tamil Nadu for detection of tuberculosis. And you will be surprised to know that the accuracy of these identifications is actually double than what actually can be done manually. So this will tell you that there is a great potential that if you really have the shortage of experts and you do not have, say, radiologists in interior and remote areas, AI can do it for you. Of course, there are certain cautions that we need to be taking to make sure that we do not have false positives or false negatives. But the fact is that the AI can come in handy for if you fit in all the scans, for early diagnosis. Accuracy is definitely better. Interior remote areas can have access to a better care. So the process has already begun. Tamil Nadu has already launched the AI mission, which will look into various sectors, and health department is a very important and significant part of the AI mission of the government of Tamil Nadu. So I'm very sure in the couple of years, you will see several new initiatives which will be based on AI coming up in the sector.
Thank you very much for sharing some interesting insights about what's happening in Tamil Nadu and the kind of progressive initiatives you have taken.
Thank you, Rajiv.
We hope you like this program. The program is also live streamed on All India Radio. We look forward to your feedback on our WhatsApp number 9818120554. For participation in this program, write to us at sustainability.karma@gmail.com. Looking forward at the same time next week with a new episode and a new guest. Till then, goodbye from all of us. Sustainability Karma, a podcast series on sustainable development, sustainability and ESG.